now live. Welcome everyone to episode 4 of the Level Up Your Wealth podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Marcus Howard, joined by Mario and Danny. Mario, please introduce yourself, and excited to talk to you, Danny.
Yeah. What's going on, y'all? Hope all is well. Mario Payne in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. It's cold, but it's not raining. So I'm just happy to be here to talk to Danny about his Oddman. So Danny, introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, first, before I introduce myself, what is cold for Florida? My brother's down there. He said it was cold. What's your temperature rocking right now, Mario?
If it's not 85, it's cold.
It is cold. You're right. You're right. Yeah,
no.
I had to put on a fleece today. What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Berger. I'm the founder of Oddmanout Studios. My goal is to build the #1 creator-led content studio on planet Earth. And Marcus and Mario, you guys are giving me an opportunity to tell my story. So thank you for having me. And I think we're going to have a really great conversation. I'm feeling hype.
Cool. So tell us about what made you want to create a studio just for content creators?
I actually didn't want to. So that's like the really funny start. I never, ever wanted to create a studio. My goal in life was just to tell stories, edit YouTube videos, be a content director. The studio came out of necessity. So I will tell everybody, I never wanted to be a founder, never wanted to start a studio. I actually thought of myself as more of a Steve Wozniak kind, I'm an operator. So the studio came out of necessity, Mario, but that's a really great opening question because it's just content creators. A lot of people start creating content with an output in mind. And I think it's the people that kind of fall into things that end up carving their niches, which we can definitely get into.
Yeah, I became an accidental content creator as well. And speaking of content creating and gaming, before we continue the conversation, definitely want to set up that 1v1 on rps.gg. So Danny, if you have 2 monitors, please.
I do.
Go look at the screen here. Okay, good. So move your RPS to another screen. And
Got
that way, when Mario's battling you 1v1, you won't see the moves that he's making.
Perfect.
And everyone else who's joining us, #1, thank you for your support and joining us again for season 3. #2, get your votes in for who you think is going to win this 1v1 matchup. We'll pick one of the winners of you all who select either Mario or Danny, and you'll win a free digital copy of both Mario's book, The Relaxed Investor, and a digital copy of my book, Innovate Gaming and Esports. And also let us know where you're tuning in from. So we've got this loaded up. We're going to get this match going. Danny, it's first to 10 wins, RPS, all right. Just like you remember from grade school. You just pick your card, and we're off to the races.
Dang.
I got a draw. Okay.
All right. I'm digging this. Oh my gosh. I feel like we got to get some Squid Game music rocking behind. There we go.
Squid Game.
Now, why?
Whoa, let's slow down here. Slow down. Whoa, hold on.
We're speeding.
No, I don't say speeding, though.
I don't know if you've heard this before, Mario, but did you know there's a strategy to rock, paper, scissors? I heard there's a meta.
Is there?
I heard, yeah. So based on who you're working with or against, and I was sizing Mario up based on who you're going against. Statistically, people will throw, see, that's why we're drawing a lot. People will throw it a sequence. And once you kind of get their sequence, I'm not doing very good with it. Dang, Mario's flipping now. But yeah, maybe I'm making it up. Who knows? Oh, we got it. So you guys, see, this is where, this could be an esport. This by itself. I don't know why. This is awesome. Oh.
It's funny you say that. So this game is made by Eugene Yastrov. He was actually a guest on our podcast season 2. And we had that conversation when he was on the podcast and in general that we believe that any game in theory could be an esport. If you think about esports as just, kind of coin the term, I'm not coining the term, but reuse the term, a pickup game of basketball, right? Any game can be competitive and as long as you're competing to see who can win, every game technically has some kind of esports potential.
Oh, he's running it back too. As we talk about esports potential, and I love that you guys actually talked about the anything being esports potential. Something that I've learned that no matter what you're promoting, if you have a really good story and narrative, a really solid beginning, middle, and an end and stakes, anything can be the most interesting thing in the world. Like there's a niche for everything. That's oh my God. Look, he's running it back. It's 9-10 right now, folks. Later, this could be the end of the absolute game. It's a draw, and Danny's still in it. It's match point. Oh no! Oh man, Mario. That's crazy. That's awesome, man. I haven't had that much fun playing an esport game online. That's awesome.
So it's what's awesome about it is it's it's mobile, it's PC, and it's a quick game, right? That was what 2 or 3 minutes.
See,
yeah, that was really quick.
See, you had me at strategy, and I had to change things up.
Right, so I got in your head. I got in your head, and you're like, "All right, I'm sequencing." You definitely beat it. Well, good game, Mario. So, Marcus, what happens now? Mario wins, and then there's like a prize for our viewers.
Yeah. So I'm gonna double check to see if we had any votes. Let me jump over here, and I forgot to mute my LinkedIn tab, so let me mute that so we don't have any feedback loop here. Site. And let's see, if we had any votes, we will select one of the people who voted for Mario, and that person will win a free digital copy.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't have any votes, so both of you are winners, obviously.
Hey, yo, let's go. Let's go. Amazing.
That's what. Now, I was saying, like, so with rock, scissors, paper, like, from an investment standpoint, actually, I use that for all my clients when they first come in from like a risk standpoint. So typically, like the more that you win when you invest, like it's like either fight or flight. Like you are more aggressive. If you're more aggressive, then you do rock more because you kind of want your money to grow up more. You're more conservative. You're going to sell while you made money. You're more of like paper, right? You're kind of more conservative and kind of scissors in the middle. So actually, I use rock, scissors, paper in the form of kind of how to evaluate risk with a client. Because of course, the client says no money's growing, like they want to keep on making money, but you might say that on this side of the brain because you're trying to make money, but this side of the brain that's protecting it might be a different story. So, yeah. So what does content creation mean to you? Like I know people, people throw stuff around. I'm a content creator. I create content. Like like what actually is content? Like could this be viewed as content? Talking?
Yeah. I mean,
what's content creation?
Content creation to me is just, man, that's such a big question. This is something that I've been evolved, like as I've been doing this for 10 years, I think it's changed, through the time. So currently as 2024, it stands, content to me is any story that is published and shared with an audience. So that's content. Now that can mean written content, that can be video content, live stream content. This is absolutely content. Anytime that you're breaking, we call it the fourth wall in acting, you're breaking the fourth wall and saying hi to your audience, that's content, right? So that's like the really basic premise. But the reason why I stumbled so hard on that question was because I used to think I wanted to be we were content creators, right? Like we talk about the creator economy and there's nothing in there that says content creator economy. So I've been really thinking about that, right? Because I'm like, well, why are we calling it the creator economy, but content's not in there? And I was like, well, it's because it's superfluous, right? Like it's kind of like it's a niche within a bigger umbrella that is content. And I started thinking, okay, well, what's bigger than creating, right? So creating, you have to be a maker. So I've been really like reformatting like the way like the labels we use. Because when we say content creator, like what is a content creator? I think people immediately jump to like Pokimane or, Nade Shot. They think content creator, like an influencer. So I just try to like break these labels as easily as I can. I think like the world can really be split into two types of people. You have makers and you have takers. Yeah.
And Saban, thanks for hopping in. So I'm gonna ask you the same question, Saban. To you, what is a content creator?
Ooh.
What is a content
He'll have
creator?
a really good, my boy Saban, I'll let him share who he works with. He's like, Saban is able to get like 10, I think he got like 10 million views last month alone on shorts for his employer. Yeah, Saban's incredibly talented. So he works for the biggest YouTubers, Mario, out there. This he just doesn't share it.
With Saban, amazing. They did talk, but I got some content that needs some. Run those up.
There we go. We'll hit them up.
So to that point, Danny, like what, in your opinion, working with content creators, creating your own studio, what is needed for a person to go viral? Like people make outlandish videos. Some of them are flop. and like crazy videos that don't mean nothing. Two dogs looking at each other's eyes, like literally trying to get a billion views. Like, so what makes things tick from a view standpoint?
All right. So you got like, it's really great. Like, I love being able to break down. I like podcasts, right? Like, because they're long. We're not just doing like TikTok 30-second answers here. Because in that question you asked me, there's so many actual layers to what you just asked, Mario. In that, when you said viral, the first thing that immediately popped in my head was like, what are you trying to achieve with the content, right? There's this thing called an output dependency, and this is not an original. I don't coin this. This is my buddy who produces. I interviewed him on my own podcast, and he said that a lot of creators have what's called an output dependency, right? So like a lot of creators do come to me and they ask that question, Mario. They're like, how do I go viral? And that's where I say, that's the dumbest thing. And no offense, it's not like a bad thing, but it's like, you're not ready to go viral, right? None of us are. Even me, my personal channels, Oddmanout Studios isn't pumping content because I know I'm not ready to go viral. So I usually take people like a step back and I ask, well, why do you want to go viral? Usually it's to a mass exposure, right? You want to grow your brand. You want to get more reach. You want to make some money. You know, you have some goals, right? And that's totally fine. Like, that's what social media is for. But you want to start with an output that you can actually, that makes sense. Because if you go viral, like I signed a creator last week, right? I signed him on Monday. I met with him on Tuesday for 15 minutes. He goes live on Wednesday on Twitch and he hit 3 million views, right? On Twitter for 15 minutes of planning. And then he kind of trolled the audience because normally that's when you would sell your product, right? You would under that tweet say, all right, go subscribe. My man, he was like, I'm not here to sell you guys anything. I just want you to be good people. Right? Because we recognize that like his goal had nothing to do with virality. Like what he's trying to achieve is getting gigs as a caster. He wants to pay his bills by being a creator. He wants to make things and have people pay him for what he makes, right? He makes entertainment. He makes viral clips. He made a viral clip, but that viral clip was a product for his fans. It went viral. Now we're answering your question, Mario, of like why things tick. He went viral because he's the expert in the games he's playing, but he didn't have the distribution strategy, like the 10 years of pattern recognition that somebody like me would have. So in 15 minutes, I just said, hey, like I'm your creative partner. That's kind of like our relationship. I'm a creative partner. I say, forget everything else. I want you to stream and I want you to do two things. I want you to have a lot of fun. And I want you to answer this list of questions that your producer, me, wants you to answer. And I'll just sit there and hit the clip button, right? Everything else, just leave at the door. And I think that's something that we in a social media world, like like it's a struggle. Streaming or content creation is a job. You want to leave everything, your personal life at the door. It's a professional career. And then my creator did it. So Fawn went live. He left his drama at the door. 2 hours in, he hit a clip, shoots it on Twitter, and it hits 3 million views, and it ticks because his audience knows that it was authentic. And he knew. He was like, all right, I got to use a hashtag. There was no hashtag strategy. I didn't even tell him to use a hashtag. I was like, I don't believe in them. But he was like, no, I'm going to post hashtag and it works because it resonates at a deeper frequency because there wasn't an output, right? There wasn't a dependency on an output of going viral. So there was no pressure. There was nothing like he didn't have to put food on the table with that tweet. There was no sponsor to make happy. We were just trying to test something new. We were trying to get 1% better that day. And now this kid's like, right? And now he's streaming 5 days a freaking week, right? Because he's like, oh man, all I got to do is like, he needs one clip like that a month, man. He needs one clip like that a month. And then it makes like all that stress and all that pressure drop because we're like realigning to outputs. So like, sorry, that was a long answer, but you gave me like a super dense question.
Yeah. So do you know who kind of quote unquote made the 1% rule famous?
No, who was it?
Well, it's actually the X in my book.
Hey,
I talk about that. I didn't make it famous, but Kobe Bryant made it famous. So rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. He passed away basically 4 years ago. And yeah, so like his whole goal was every single day just get 1% better. And so
now I know where to attribute the quote, Mario. Thank you. Thank you. My gosh. That's it, man. Like I worked for all these companies and they're like, all right, we need 100,000 subscribers, right? Like even a vanity metric like that. said, all right, you're going to pay my salary. By applying the 1% better every day, it stripped all that pressure. Like I ran, like I've started $20 million franchise teams as like a 23-year-old. There was zero pressure, right? Because it's 1% better. Now I know who to attribute it to it. And it's, in the book that we are going to give away if people, if you guys engage and engage in the comments.
Yeah, Danny, so you mentioned 10 years of pattern recognition. You and I have had a couple of conversations about like the work that you've done up until this point, but you're just now connecting with Mario and folks on LinkedIn who are just now meeting you. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've worked on the last 10 years?
Oh gosh, you want the 10-year. Okay, so
the highlights.
Not that
old.
Highlights. I'll give you super highlights. So 10 years puts me back in college because I'm not actually that old. Drop out of acting major. I'm a college dropout. My first
style, huh?
Yeah, right. So I was an acting major, and I realized I wasn't going to be famous. I was getting too old too quick. So I dropped out of college, went to the Philadelphia Fusion grand finals for Overwatch League, saw people running around with cameras, and I said, screw it. That's what I'm going to do. My first gig was working for Harrisburg University, one of the first 10 collegiate esports, like fully funded scholarships in the nation. I think I might be wrong. I'm like 5 years ago. I'm old. That was my first gig, right? So like I got hit up because they saw me on YouTube. I made like a how to grow on Twitch video, got hired to run 3 esports teams. Had never freaking done that before. But they said like, hey, you know how to grow a YouTube. Do you know how to post on Twitter? So of course I lied and said I could. And,
figured it out.
I shipped out to Harrisburg. Yeah. So we established, Hugh Fest, which like we got hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers on live access television, Twitch. That's where I started getting like the ideas for docuseries because I was the director of content. I had no supervision. There was no blueprint. They just said post, right? So it was like the Wild West and still is. But all of the stuff you see now on like player profiles, documentaries, like this was all cool stuff. And Saban can attest to this. He was my intern 5 years ago. All of this was just stuff we were having fun with, right? Like there was easy money. These kids were coming in. Everybody was excited. So flash forward, I do that for a year. I get laid off from there because of dating somebody, which was great. So they didn't like me because I was doing that. So after that, I saw that the Atlanta Reign was looking for a new director of content. So this was season 2 Overwatch League. Atlanta Reign was like the new team coming in. So they had grown their presence. So I would say Jay got it to like 20,000, 30,000 followers. Like Jarrell, he was my boss for a few years. Phenomenal content director. He saw what I did at Harrisburg and he was like, yo, strip all the other games. I want you to just do Overwatch. Come on in. Like me and him moved in to Atlanta. That's what brought me down here to Georgia. And dude, I packed a van, got a 2-bedroom apartment with my own boss. And then for 2 years, we built the Atlanta Reign, right? So like we became the anti-heroes. It was great. Like we were the gatekeepers of the league. I got the trash talk. I got canceled a few times. It was great. And then, I realized 2 years in that I was recognizing some of these patterns and I saw that Overwatch, the numbers were starting to do funny things, right? And I was like, all right, but we have this talent and we're losing $2 million a year on this talent. So why don't we like shift focus? I went to the owner and I said, hey, there's this new game. It's called Project A. This is trivia for your guys' viewers. Do you know what Project A was? Either of you guys? It's a really hard one.
Atlanta?
Project A was a game. I'll give you a hint. It was a Riot game. Valorant. There you go, dude.
Yeah.
So
they
right,
dude. They do letters with all their projects.
People like they call me a grifter now. I'm like, bro, no, I live this this stuff, right? So like
this is an adult podcast.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I live this shit. So I went to the owner of the Atlanta Reign and we were at the FaZe homestand, right? So we're like winning champions, like all the teams are there. We're making content. I go up to him. I'm like, look, man, we have momentum. You should take these 5 Overwatch players who are miserable and throw them in this new game, right? Because they're gonna I just felt it, right? I was like, and he was like, all right, well, I'll look at it. Of course, didn't hear anything. And that was like the first time that I kind of got punched in the face with I really felt so strongly about something, but I was like, all right, whatever, like blow past it. And what happened? Baby Bay got an offer to play for Valorant and our owner couldn't keep him. I had to make Baby Bay's retirement video for the team that I literally told him we would have kept. So we lost our like golden star, right? We lost our star player, and viewership's going like this. And I realized like I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do because there's too many obstacles, right? Like this is like petty for me. Like I want to build these players' stories, and now I just lost one of my best players, right? Like I have failed. So I took a step back and I was like, you know what? I'm not making enough money. It was really not a lot of money. People think like a director. No, dude, like I worked several jobs. I applied for SteelSeries because they had more followers. Honestly, I was like, yo, there's no players. And like, let me try and like pitching and selling something that can't talk because players are easy, right? Like building a brand with a face is really, really easy, but selling a product is really, really hard. So I was like, all right, well, SteelSeries, they could pay me maybe more. And I applied and then they accepted me. And I was
real quick.
Yeah. Sorry. Super long history.
So no. Mario, SteelSeries makes keyboards.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm using their headset now, even though they laid me off. I'll tell you that about that if you want. Still a great product. Yeah. I still want to work with them on partnerships, but no hard. Look, I even got the mouse, dude. Yeah. Check it out. Yeah, I'm open for partnerships. Anywho, I went to SteelSeries because I wanted to. I was working for global socials, so like SteelSeries was so big, we had 20 regional accounts in China, Japan, like multinational, and all of the strategy came from me, which was freaking cool, right? So like when we would launch a product, they made all the videos over in the UK or at SteelSeries HQ. They would send me the content, and my job was to package and build marketing packages. I didn't know it then. They called me like a digital producer, but I was really working on marketing. And then once we developed the strategy, I actually would send it out to get translated. And I was the guy that would be like making sure the time zones would launch, right? So like, all right, China, how's it going, right? Like, and I was like burning the midnight oil, building that brand, did that for like 7-8 months, and then got laid off. For interesting reasons, which you guys can ask me about. It was like one of those things where you have met me and I'm pretty blunt. And I think this is where I started learning. Yeah.
No, we can't do that. Why you get laid? We can't go out. Why you get laid off? We can't go
All
out.
Right. So basically, when I would go into meetings, I was just vocal, you know. And in esports and gaming, like everybody wants a fair. I'm from New Jersey, right? Like we don't raise hands, we just talk. Like I've jumped on your toes. And one of the employees reported me because every time they got in a meeting with me, they thought I was commandeering and, you know, and then my friend actually wanted my job. So they just told HR that they agreed. And then they said, basically, I was using foul language about management. They screenshotted a DM I had sent a friend. And then she didn't even get my job. So that sucked for her because they outsourced it. But like, I learned a lot, right? Like you learn from those moments. Because you're like, all right, well, like, what can I do to not do that again? I was like, all right, gaming and esports, there's no money, and to finish my history, I stepped back from gaming, and I was like, you know what? Let's go to tech startups. Let's do something I've never done before, and I worked for Mark Cuban for the next year and a half, my longest gig, highest paying salaried gig. You know, Mark Cuban invested in this Atlanta startup. I got to build a brand from 0 to 400,000 followers that generated $200,000 a year. Well, actually generated $200,000 in 6 months, but we spent the other 6 months pivoting and then losing money. So that tech layoff.
You do that when you're a billionaire, though, right?
What's that? Yeah.
So
but
do that when you're a billionaire.
You got 10 other guys. You know, he got my memos, but he's got 10 other hedges. So once that company like ran out of money, I really just stepped back and I talked to my now fiance and I was like, look, I can either keep applying to be a content director, but I'm seeing the market is freezing. I know there's no capital. And I believe that we're entering something that we haven't seen in human history, which is called a fourth turning event. And it's basically where like, I believe, and this is crazy tinfoil hat, but like the financial system is collapsing. So I'm hedging my bets, right? I'd rather be cash poor, but attention rich, right? Like this is my thesis for the next 50 years. And I'll repeat it. I would rather be cash poor. I told my creator today, I couldn't buy him a game because I'm at negative $50 because I'm cash poor, but I'm attention rich. So we stepped back and we talked. She has her master's degree in education. I'm very, very fortunate that, you know, I was making good money. She got to go and finish her degree. And now she's like, hey, let's finish the year out. I will be the breadwinner. I want you to build something because we want to get married and come back and not be laid off. Right. That'd be amazing. And then we got to Oddmanout Studio. So like super, you know, 10 years is a long time if you work in our industry. That's why I always, you sure you don't want 1 year? Yeah, because I've been laid off like 3 times in 2 years. Like it's not.
And Mario, we were talking about, you know, the layoffs that happened this past week, right? Activision,
Yeah.
Blizzard, and Microsoft. And what's interesting is, you know, he was talking about Overwatch. Overwatch basically is getting rebooted because it wasn't what everyone thought it was going to be, and Valorant is now becoming that. So he was right. Hindsight that he was right.
As a 23, I think I was 23, and my fiance hates it because, and my dad called me too. They both hate me because my dad called me about my Bitcoin call back in 2009, and my fiance called me about the Bitcoin call pre-layoffs. I told her, hey, the Bitcoin would pay for the wedding. So I usually call things like pattern recognition is simply just time in a market. I've been spending 10 years doing this. Like it's not me being cocky. It's just 10 years of like, I can see it. Like I can call it pretty much.
All right. So a few questions. That's a lot.
Shoot.
So first, I just want to go back to the 10 minutes ago. Like, tell the audience, like when a person goes viral, like statistically, what does that mean? Right. Cause that's like, you know, is that 100,000 views in a minute? Like what is that exactly? So the audience knows like what technically does that mean?
Yeah. So the technical definition of going viral is anything above 1 million views, right? Like we can just call, like I would put a number on it, 1 million views. I don't care how big you are. Depending on what an agency is selling you, they'll tell you different things, right? It's like the rate of growth, right? Like how fast is it being engaged? Don't let those people scam you. It's just like if you hit 1 million views, going viral technically just means you've broken out of your sphere of influence and the algorithm is now just giving you all of these new eyes that you would have never touched, you know, have engaged with. So going viral is breaking out of your niche.
When does the algorithm, like for example, like I have just you know, just from a theoretical similar, so I have almost 11,000 followers, right? So
yeah,
you know, people engage, but like when how many followers you think, or like when is it where you kind of go out I do something that reaches 100, 200 people to now it reaches 1,000 people?
Yeah.
Like what has to be done for that to happen?
Yeah, good question. Super technical. So it's all going to be, I love these questions. They're super layered because you didn't mention, so here's a few like clarifying questions I would follow up with if you were a creator. What platform, right? You don't have to answer it. I'll give you some general tips because I think it'll be valuable. I always ask what platform and why. Again, why I think it's so deeply important to understand your why, Mario, that I would almost not even want to discuss this, like this method, but we'll get past it. Let's just push past it anyway, because like we can go viral. Why not? It's fun. So when you think of going viral, right, how the algorithm works, very simply, if I take a video right now and I post it to my TikTok, we'll just use TikTok as an example, and I have 100 followers, the video is going to be served to 10% of my followers right off the bat. So, you know, when like your friend posts and you get the notification, right? If you swipe left on your friend's post, you've just told the algorithm that the first 10% of the audience doesn't give a shit about your friend. So like,
for real?
Yeah. So like there's a lot of scams. I'll teach you guys some tricks. So like the first wave that happens is your sphere of influence, right? Every time you told mom and dad to go follow you and like, remember output dependency, you're like, I want 1,000 followers. Well, now mom and dad are ignoring your algorithm. They're telling the algorithm they don't give a shit. So wave one is you post and it goes to your 10% of your network, like your truest fans, because if your truest fans don't like it, there's not a snowball's chance in hell they're going to serve it to anybody else. So you got to get through gauntlet number one. So gauntlet number one is your 10 true fans. This is why I don't recommend starting a channel and telling your mom and dad, right? Like go, right? Because like they're your best supporters, but number go up doesn't matter. Like you need just 100 true followers. I was telling a friend today, you need 100 fans to pay you $1,000 a year and you'll make 120K a year. You need 100 people, right? Do the math. It's 100 people give you $100 a month. That's 120 grand, right? Is that the math? Should be. So like instead of going viral, like this was a photographer. Super easy. Get 100 freaking photographers to pay you $99 a month for like a workshop. Like that's so much easier than going viral. So back right. So like again, this is like I'm really like almost like counter algo. Like what did they call me? Counter culture, whatever the fuck the label is. Sorry, whatever the hell the labels are. But like I'm trying to flip it on there. Like I'm trying to show people like you can flip this game because people want to go viral. Think about it. How to go viral? Like let's really zoom out. You ask any high school kid. My fiance is a high school theater and dance teacher, so I'm pretty in tune with what they want. Marcus has a kid, so I'm going to ask him in the next 10 years. I'm going to know, right? But right now, if you surveyed like a high school of kids, 1 out of every 4 students is going to tell you, what do you think the number one profession is? The number one thing that they want to be right now.
Content creator.
Basketball player, athlete.
Okay.
Athlete, of course.
It's influencer.
Oh, so not a rapper? I thought all kids want to be rappers now.
No, not anymore, man.
That was
it was astronaut. It was astronaut when I was there, but like that's for smart people with math. So like think about that statistic and then ask like, can you define what an influencer even is? Like technically speaking, as a content director, all an influencer is somebody that influences a population of people to make purchasing decisions, right? A person who posts to sway purchasing decisions. All influencers do is sway opinion. They influence, right? Like it's like the mascot for the Philly Fanatic is an influencer for the Phillies, right? Like he's dancing around, but like they don't have real, right? They don't make something. They're not makers, right? They make opinion sway. But I think we're starting to like actually flush all that out, man. Like influencer, we have to re-educate. Like we have to almost rehabilitate ourselves because everybody on YouTube is telling these kids how to go viral, right? But they're not asking themselves why they need to go viral. And then they go viral at 14 years old. They shouldn't be on a platform. They've gone viral. They have 1,000 creepy dudes in their DMs now. They're not like, this is why Mark Zuckerberg just apologized to parents to Congress. Because YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, they're feeding the kids to go viral. And Mario just asked me to go viral. And it's not like a bad thing, but like I'm really trying to shift everybody. Like I'm losing money by telling people this because people only are buying virality. Like I, as a studio, have lost contract after contract because I'm being honest with them. I'm like, you guys do not need this. You're better off paying. Good. Yeah, I'll stop the rant there.
No. We don't want to take money out your pocket. So yeah. But let's shift this because you did something. Because going viral doesn't make you money. What makes you money is people buying into your program. And so you said something kind of real quick. I want to kind of get on that, which the services that you provide, right? So you said instead of going viral, you just want 100 dedicated people to pay you $99 a month. So like some type of subscription or some type of teachable. So kind of walk through that process. Yeah. What type of content do you recommend?
Amazing.
How do you bring people in to create that content so that
this is where this is the direction, Mario. Like this is awesome. So here's how you do it. Let's like zoom out. And here first, let's set context. Look at any of your favorite gaming organizations and how many are alive today. Not a lot. Why? Because they gave their audience for 5 years free content, right? We've just given you candy, so they don't want to pay for their supper.
Yep.
Right. So let's set context. Like candy and virality doesn't matter. So now let's take like a random, I hate gaming as an example. So like I play guitar. I don't actually, but let's pretend I'm going to. Now, a high schooler who's trying to find their way, doesn't want to go to college, is like, all right, I've got a lot of free time. I'm a pizza delivery boy. I've got this guitar and I've got this magical thing that connects me to billions of users. And I have nothing but time and a roof over my head, right? Like we live in the best time for this. I want to play guitar. Let's start with like me. I'll give you the playbook and somebody can steal this. I'm going to start Danny Berger Guitars, right? Danny Guitars is my handle. I've never played starting today. And I announce on Twitter, I'm starting a guitar channel, right? The first thing I'm going to do is set my camera up every day and always be documenting what I'm doing. The first thing you need to do is stop thinking about, my tutorial series and like perfect scripts. The first thing you need to do is get really freaking good at posting one video every single day. Because if you're not live, like if there's nothing out there, you're not taking shots on goal. So the first thing I'm going to say is, okay, you're going to play your guitar for 1 hour, right? Play my guitar for 1 hour, stream it, because that's even better. You get, it's called double dipping. You're going to stream it on YouTube live, download the VOD, and then you're going to take that 1 hour and you're going to make it so that you cut up in 1 hour is 60 minutes. That's 60 little short videos. Cool. How many days are in a month? 30. Cool. Now I got 2 videos a day. I've never made a damn piece of content in my life, but I'm producing more than any agency can produce for you for less than $5,000. Cool. I've never made content. I've never even played the freaking guitar. I'm going to post me fumbling, and all my captions are just funny memes of like, I'm so bad at guitar. Now people are like, man, I wonder if this guy's going to get it. Right. He looks like a douchebag. He's a gamer. He's got a pirate thing behind him. I either think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it, but he's funny as fuck. I vibe with him. Yeah. So you're going to follow me, right? Because I haven't sold you anything. I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to learn guitar. You're going to spend the next 30 days getting better at filming, because your viewers are going to be like, yo, your mic sucks, right? The first comments you're going to get, your mic sucks, your video sucks. All right, cool. You got to get better at that. Start solving, right? Start being 1% better. You've got consistency. Keep your consistency. And then once you have a post every day on YouTube and, a searchable platform, YouTube, and a capture platform like TikTok, right? Pick 2. The last thing you need to do with
So real quick. So, and I want to continue, but like you hear a lot of people, they just kind of post everything, kind of what sticks to the wall. Is it better to kind of be targeted with YouTube and X or Twitter or YouTube and Instagram, or is it better just to kind of throw it all to the wall and kind of whatever sticks?
Look, man, like I tell people, you're going to make the content game is a 12 to 16 month journey of you messing up, right? Like content is like, by the time you think you need content, it's probably too late. I tell I don't even talk to creators most of the time. And again, this is the leaving money on the table part. Like I will not onboard a creator who doesn't have certain like requisites. They have to have a stable income, right? Because if your back's against the wall, you cannot be creative, right? So like I don't tell people to quit their job and Mr. Beast it. That's survivorship bias, right? Like he did it. It's not going to work for you. I've done it. I'm broke. Don't worry, right? But you got to really like zoom out and just like, you're just going to be messing up for a year. You're just 1% better every day, man. Like, because your output is on telling your story, more shots on goal, man. Like more shots at the basket. Like, right. Like, and I'm not even a sports person. This is great. I love it. So like I think before you even get ahead of yourself, like you asked, like what sticks, what doesn't, like forget that. You're going to get 100 people by just posting 2 videos a day. People who like are going to make fun of you, people who are going to call your videos trash, people who are going to give you like all this feedback that doesn't matter, but they're paying you in like, to loop back to the start of this podcast, like this recording, like they're paying you in the second most valuable resource in the world.
Time.
Attention.
Attention.
Oh, attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attention.
Yeah.
Right. So when you comment something, you'll see like when you watch me on LinkedIn, most of the time I'm like really just poking the hunt. Like I'm really just trying to stir the nest. Like you'll see me post and like kind of just leave the conversation after a comment or two, because like, even if you disagree or agree, I really don't care at that point. I'm really just getting the attention, because you're not going to pay me, right? These people aren't going to like, they're not warm leads. They're not paying me and they're wasting my time arguing, but they're paying me. So like, I'm getting attention because my stats and everything go up. So like for the first 12 to 16 months, while you work your 3 part-time jobs, like it's hard, right? Like while you work at McDonald's, like I told my friend, I just applied for Panda Express last week because they're paying $75,000 a year, right? Like, yeah, I'm making a video about like I'm trying to like show people the process. Like I don't have time to work this job, but I'm trying to show people like by flipping to like a better output dependency, you can like make better decisions for yourself. Work at McDonald's for 10 hours a week so that you can feed yourself. Stream, like I just said, for 1 hour a week. Spend the next 3 hours a week editing, getting better at posting and engaging. And I promise you, after 12 months, when you because in 12 months, guess what's happening while you're doing that? Now I'm a freaking master at guitar. Because we forgot the actual purpose of the content, man. So now I'm a master guitar, and now people are asking me questions. I have this fan club. I have all this attention. I have all of this juice to then be like, what's my passion? Obviously, it's guitar. And chances are, man, like being completely candid too, like 6 months into it, you're probably going to learn it's not actually guitar. Because to be honest with you, Mario and Marcus, like this is actually the secret is like, look at Mr. Beast's first video. It was a vlog, dude. Like it was a vlog like this, like you're going to find out that like, all right, year one was a total waste and you just got really good at content and then you're going to scrap it. You're going to get screwed at some point. Like the algorithm's going to work against you. You're going to get shadow banned. I'm promising you that. But then year two,
I got shadow banned. I got shadow banned already.
He knows about it. He knows about it.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. It's absolutely. I thought I was shadow banned on LinkedIn last night and I had 5 people text me and it was great because they're like, yo, do you want me to like get on LinkedIn and share? And I was like, no, man, I'll just do it on Twitter instead. It's fine.
Like, I got shadow banned on LinkedIn before.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, like YouTube's going to like flag you. Like everybody's censoring you based on what advertisers want. And that's fine. You don't have to play the game. That's like, I got in this like interview and I was like, hey guys, do you want me to not curse or curse? Right. Like I know how advertisers are, but like we put so much weight into like every time you post on YouTube, you're paying YouTube. Every time you post on TikTok, and we forget this, like they're telling you post. Right? Go viral. Like you'll be big, be an influencer. Why? Because they make fucking money when you post. We're the product, guys. But if you spend a year just getting really good at content and building a tribe, and then you learn, all right, cool. In year 2, you're going to learn how to build a website and take all of that attention, the second most valuable resource in the world. And you're going to tell at that point, your 1,000 people, 10,000 people, here's my website. Here's my ebook. You guys all have a product, right? Like I'm pissed at myself. I have no digital thing to give anybody because I was NDA'd for 10 years of my life and I don't have any product. And I have like my fiance's pissed. I'm financially broke, but I tell her like my attention, I'm like ranked top 1% in all my networks because I'm just playing the game. And like, she's like, well, that doesn't make money. I'm like, babe, it's a bet. I promise you. I promise you that this is the bet that I'm making. It's like investing in Bitcoin in 2009, dude. Like if you invest right now in attention, like the bank is there's not going to be cash in 10 years, man. Like people are realizing it. So like, might as well start getting your new bag, right?
you know, I do stocks for a living.
No, it's funny because like I'm actually a really nerdy finance guy. Like I used to, like when I was making salary, like I had stocks and I had like equity and like I screwed myself because if I just took all that money that I was making, put it into a nest egg, and like I would have had a nest egg for like this studio. But like again, man, like you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know.
So let's jump back to that because it was 2. That was the first question. Thank you for that. The second question is like you talk about pattern tracing. So kind of walk us through again, maybe not the vibe, but like the algorithm and like the pattern tracing that you're able to for people that come in, help them grow, which grows your brand. Like go over the pattern tracing part.
Yeah. So patterns, the really hard part about patterns and the things that people hate about patterns is, you ever heard the quote that like the problems that you're dealing with today are results of the actions you took 5 years ago? I might be like butchering this quote, but that's something my grandpa maybe said. He's old, right? But like basically the gist is this, like, and people even like look at, not to even be political, but the things that are going through Congress now are actually not the current cabinet's things. It's like things from like even the Bush administration. Like people don't realize, and now you guys are like nodding your heads because you guys have recognized political patterns. You guys have that experience on me. So like think about how many years it took you to get that, because every 4 years it's slow. I applied that thinking to social media, right? So like when I talk patterns, I'm not talking in like algorithmic patterns.
Okay.
Cool. Like, so like, I'm really glad you asked, because if you spend your time, like, I think that's a race to the bottom, right? I believe these agencies that are trying to spend all their AI money on pattern recognition for virality, they're actually just in a race to the bottom, right? Like eventually you're going to have to like make 1 million videos a month to stay profitable. Whereas like I'm doing the opposite, right? Like I'm not trying to do that. So it's my belief that like, if you're looking, the companies that spend time looking for patterns in trends and algorithm, it's like a constant goose hunt, because hey, we just discovered the algorithm's going to change, because once you figure it out, YouTube doesn't want you to figure it out. They want you to keep guessing because you're not posting, because YouTubers like you only need to post one video a quarter, right? Like people think you need to post like I know YouTubers who post one video every 3 months. And because of that one video, they get enough sponsors to like, okay, they vacation. So like, what does that tell? Like, that's very counter to what YouTube will tell you, because YouTube's freaking mad, dude. They're not cutting it up. They're not getting people there. They're not getting them sucked in for like ads, dude. So like, obviously they're not going to push you in the algo. So if you constantly are like trying to appease the algo and like recognize patterns in it, like spoilers, there's no pattern, right? Like there is. And like you can kind of get social patterns, but like now let's talk about what patterns we can recognize. People don't really change. So like this is where I'm going crazy with this because like I love AI, but like I was listening to a podcast with these founders, and they were like warning us about AI, and basically their warning was this: we as humans have lizard brains, medieval institutions, but we have the technology of gods. Like we're still very like we talked about fight or flight in the beginning of this podcast. We're like fight or flight, but we can literally create a being. Right? And like we talked about like colleges and internships. I was on like my tirade today about that. That's a medieval institution, right? Like and people don't like change, and that's why we're being silenced. And that's like why I have stopped caring like as much about playing in that vertical, because it's a medieval institution. So like I was listening to these founders. I'm like, okay, well, like what is the solution? Recognizing patterns in people. Because they said it, like, I don't care if you put fire in a person's hand or you put a phone in a person's hand. Like, show me the man, I'll show you the incentive. That's like a quote from like some finance guy, right? Like you can always like, if I'm pretty good at reading people. I think that's like, people don't talk about charisma, and charisma is like the ability to like talk, and right, like Riz, kids know it as Riz, but Riz is short for charisma. And like by talking to people, you recognize, all right, when their eyebrow raises on the left, they're upset, right? They look to the right, they're lying. Like you can recognize these patterns. You can do the same thing when you even like look at somebody's Twitter profile. I can look at somebody's Twitter profile over the course of a year and tell you if they're getting depressed. I can tell you if like that person's going to need help. And that's like an interesting topic that like I'm trying to work towards, like 50-year plan. But like the algorithm, if the incentive wasn't to like suck in users, we could actually help the mental health crisis in the world, because the algorithm, the AI and the processing going to these algorithms to like pin you to your phone could be better spent. Like I just told you, I can tell you that a young man is going to be, trigger warning, like suicidal within a year. I can tell you there's flags because I've been there. I can tell you scientifically that when they tweet this way and you see their tweets deteriorating, there's no way that me, a college dropout, can predict that, and AI cannot.
Right.
But we have misaligned incentives. Right. So like there's so many things at play here, gents. Like, and I keep going like on these weird tangents. So like back to like basics, pattern recognition, like getting used to people, right? Like really just forget about like all of, if like tomorrow I disappeared, I just want people to like, you don't like forget about platforms, forget about all of that, like focus on people and you will not go wrong. Like, I don't care. Like if I disappear tomorrow, if you follow the people, right? If you follow people, like real humans, not these bots, like 99% are bots, but like find real people and follow real people. Like I found Marcus, which like has been an amazing blessing, right? Like I'm not religious or spiritual, but Marcus is an actual blessing, right? He was like, yo, you got denied from this podcast, dude. Like you got denied from PAX. I got denied from like a panel because I'm telling people that they're being scammed, right? I'm not an idiot. Like I've applied for these things. I've asked advisors. They're like, look, man, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. You're just redistributing the wealth. You're literally breaking it. You're literally telling people like the algo needs to be spent on suicide prevention.
Yeah.
That costs Zucks money, man. That costs money. Zucks don't want people to wake up and realize that I, as a 20-year-old male, can help you reduce suicide rates on Twitter, right? He doesn't want people to know that that's even a Pandora's box. But I can tell you after 10 years, like, fuck going viral, dude. Go save somebody. Like, go do something, right? Like, so that's why I build these brands, because like that guitarist is inspiring the kid who's like gonna beat the streets, right? Like, that's where like I'm really, really hopeful for social media. But you really have to like realize like all it is a tool to get your message out there, and like it is also a tool for your enemy, right? So,
and so to kind of piggyback off of that, when it comes to the studio, so the content creators that come in are, we know we kind of briefly talked about it, but like their goals, are their goals to pitch digital products? Are their goals to just to make content to keep people happy? Like, so what are some of their goals? And then the second part of that is like, what do you think about like the explosion of digital products? Like, it seems like compared to Instagram and YouTube 5, 6 years ago, it was like, okay, swiping, seeing pictures. Now it's like, hey, I take my free master class, and then it's like that whole sales funnel. So like, what do you think that industry is going to be kind of forward looking? So that's actually 3 questions. But.
Yeah, really, really good. And again, layered, but this time I want to challenge myself. I'm going to actually go super simple. Creators that come to me don't know what they want. Okay. All they know is that they wake up in the morning and they are not fulfilled, and they have something in them that is prohibiting them from just pressing post. These are the creators I'm working with. And like, people ask me like, okay, why? It's like, I could get a Mr. Beast. Like, I could pull a Night Media tomorrow, find myself my Mr. Beast, take 30% of his revenue and get him like, I can do that, right? Like that's easy money. My wedding's paid for in Jamaica. Boom, get me out. That's not what I wake up to do. I want to wake up and have the kid who's like, yo, my parents just got divorced. I have this, like, I wake up and like the only thing that I wake up for in the morning is like to play my guitar, right? Like, that is who I want to work with. So to answer your immediate question, they come to me to find out, like they're kind of looking like for guidance. Like, what am I supposed to want? They don't know, but they know they're waking up. They're like, okay, I know I'm not supposed to want to be viral. So that's the first thing. They come to me to kind of like almost get slapped in the face and be like, okay, now I'm awake. And now the next thing is like, all right, let's look at goals. So to lead into your second question, like there's no conversations about digital products with the creators I'm working with, because man, like these are creators, like they're creative, right? They've never had to market. They're not thinking about this, right? They're being told be an influencer, but they're not realizing that being an influencer is actually just being a business, right? You have to operate as a company. So like there's a huge gap. So like me, you, and Marcus know we need a product, but a creator is not starting from a product. They're starting from a passion. So like we usually tend to like make shit that people don't even want. And then creators tend to make things that like people would want, but they're not good publicists. So like, that's kind of like the opportunity that I'm seeing, right? There's like, if 1 out of every 4 kids says they want to be an influencer, think about my market cap. 1 out of every 4 high schoolers. And then if Marcus can get me on enough podcasts to like wake them the hell up, dude, I'm going to be freaking loaded. Fuck the attention. I'll stop posting, right? If I get 10 creators, like I'm very public about it. If I get 10 creators, I'm being very selective. If I get 10 creators, I'll generate $10,000 a month in revenue and employ a team of 10 people for life. I don't need to touch it. All you have to do is not break the machine, right? Like, don't let McDonald's come in and tell your creator to stop doing like TikToks. Don't let anybody come in and screw them. Don't let anybody come in and be like, hey, quit your job, right? Like, protect your people. Don't make money until they make money. Like most creative agencies, they take a retainer. Every month the creator pays. Like, no, I'm here to build you because you don't know the answer. And that's not fair, right? Like, it wasn't fair to me to be out of high school and not know what I wanted to do in life and then have to pick a major. Right. I had to pay for the opportunity to find out what I liked. Right. Like, dude, that's kind of nuts. So like, if I have kids, like, I just don't want them to have to like feel that. Right. And that's like, people are like, oh, okay, like, what are you doing? It's a 50-year company. So you guys got to listen to me for another 50 years. So like, I don't know, like I'll talk quieter if it helps, I'm working on a lot of like personal, like trying to like be a responsible adult, but like, man, I got 1 more year of fire in me. Like, we'll see what happens. And then once I have a kid, like it all changes. But right now I'm very I have a high risk tolerance. So like if people think I'm like really biting off a lot, bro, I'm not even there yet.
You talked about before we went live about maturing as a content creator and having to shift away. And you and I share that idea of shifting away from kind of just, I call it kind of strategic venting versus focusing on the realistic opportunities for adding value to everyone, right? And not that being kind of constructively critical about things that are broken doesn't add value, but it doesn't
Right.
add value in the same way. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I really, something that I think I wish like I had in a mentor or a founder that like I followed was like way more transparency. I think like we're entering an age of like like all these companies, we're going to be transparent. I don't think they will be. I think that's like, that puts them in a, nobody's going to put their books out, right? Like that's
Right.
not smart business.
Right.
But like, to get back to me, like I want to be transparent because information in my thesis in the next 5 years, like you're going to be able to just ask AI how my profits are. So like, there's no point in hiding anything, right? So like, I'm a little bit ahead of the curve, but in order for me to achieve the goals that I just laid out for you guys, to survive for 50 years, I can't keep leaving millions of dollars on the table, right? Like I've had investors come to me and I'm strong-headed and I said I want it to be a creator-led studio. I'm standing by that. That means I've been valuated. I've gotten, hey, $1 million offer, right? And I'm turning it down for my goals. But I have to recognize that I cannot pop off at people. Like I am a role model, even though I'm young. And if all I can do is pop off and complain, then the people that look up to me learn that habit. They just learn that they're okay. That's how you get things done, because they also do see me accomplishing things, right? Not humble brag, but they also see, okay, Danny's talking a lot of shit, but Danny's also putting up esports tournaments, right? Like Danny's paying the players 24 hours after. I'm going to do what Danny does, but all they're going to see, and I know this, all they see is me popping off. They don't see these calls.
The work.
So like I need to, as a role model, I'm showing my work because I'm calling out for accountability. The next evolution of that for me to stay alive as a business owner is I got to start attracting more flies, right? So to get back to you, yeah, go for it, Mario. Yeah.
Nah. So let's piggyback over that because you talked about valuation. So from a business standpoint, how do you see valuation? Like, do you see?
I don't.
Valuation?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. So like, let me like when it comes to, again, to go circle way back, like I am not a business. Like I never wanted to be. My grandpa actually, I was very fortunate because my grandpa volunteered after retirement and actually helped a free, like it's called Score. So you go to score.com and like, if you're an entrepreneur, there's like templates. My grandpa's the guy that literally was like sitting in a thing, like writing for that. So like, I was fortunate because like I was around people talking about this stuff. But when I tell you, like, I've had investors from Atlanta come to me and be like, you're valued at this, like my brain, it glazes over, right?
Yeah.
Because my output isn't like, I couldn't tell you what my company's valued at. I can tell you they offered me like $1 million like this year, whatever that means. But then all I know is they own a part, right?
Now the reason I ask because when from a business owner standpoint, like some people look at valuations as like dollars and cents. Some people look at it as intellectual property. So like as you look at your company, you look at it more as like intellectual, creative thing you're growing, or you think of it more as dollars and cents. I want to have it grow at X amount of dollars. I want to
smart,
make as much as I would have made in Bitcoin.
Yeah, you're challenging. Yeah. And this is great. Like I hope like this is what I want content creators to start battling. Cause like what you just asked me, if we weren't on a podcast, I would just say, oh, I have to go edit a video. Like I'll be back. Right. Like, but I can't run anymore from it. Right. So like how I look at value as a company, the first one aligns to being the best creator-led studio on planet Earth. So what does that mean to me? Empowering content creators. How many people can I take from 0 to 1 in a year? Do I make money from it? No, because from going to get a content creator to post, sometimes it takes them a day. Sometimes it takes a whole year just to get them to post one thing. Right. So like value to me is the first metric I measure is like, how many 0 to 1 moments do I have? Right. Metric number 2 is, did I pay my bills? Right. Like, is my fiance handling my rent this month? And if so, how do we correct? Like, I'm just taking it seriously month by month, but I am not naive to the fact that when people come and approach me, like that's got to be a pretty high valuation. If they're offering me like $1 million up front, I'm not going to say names, but for me, the value of getting that offer was like, if they're willing to give me that money, they know I'm onto something. And even if I don't know what it is yet, right? Like I might not know what it is. They might, like, the money could probably help me, but they're only offering it to me now because they know eventually I'll figure it out. Right? They don't, and they might not even know. They might just be like, damn, he's saying a lot of things and like, we don't know what he's saying, but they do feel it, right? Like, look at, Sony's arguing with TikTok, huge debate right now, right? Like Sony's going to pull their music catalog from TikTok. And they're in a battle right now of what we're discussing, like feeling an audience sentiment shift, right? So like when an investor comes to me and they're like, yo, we'll give you $1 million. That tells me this month, like, Danny, do not stop, right? That the value on what you're saying, something you've said in the past 30 days, because I just go to LinkedIn, I'm like, when did they look at me? And then all I do, like, tactically is look at what I posted that month. Something that I posted that month, they saw, and then the next month I start doubling down on that, right? Because they're already indicating for me. It's like Battleship, man. Like, they missed my ship, but I'm getting little pegs all around. And like, as long as I can outlast and stay true to my mission, when I crack that, when I start getting my gold showing up, I know I'm going to net residuals, right? Like I know if I survive, like, dude, I'll go lay concrete. I'm building a house next week, like laying foundation. Construction jobs pay like $45 an hour, man. I need no experience for that. So hopefully that answered the question, but value can be found like in really weird places. I think it's like, you have to find value. It's so specific to the person. Because if any other company operates how I operate, like they're going to die, right? Like I'm probably going to die a few times this way, right? Like, but it's going to work for me, but it's not going to work for Marcus and it's not going to work for you. You guys can just take lessons from me and be like, all right, well, he took 100 shots this month and the topics were like these 5 keywords. Y'all can like learn from that and like not fail as bad as I did. But you're still going to have to, you have to shift it because your audience is different. Your sentiment's different.
To say a smart person learns from their own mistakes, a wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
Exactly. It doesn't cost you anything to watch me fuck up.
Yeah,
Actually,
so
it's a show.
So another question. So
Yeah.
from a content creation standpoint, like we have the Mr. Beast of the world, and they do amazing stuff, and a person might have something, might make a video, might make a short, it does good, but a lot of people kind of jump to the next thing. Like a lot of people don't rinse and repeat. Psychologically, why do people kind of jump from thing to thing when if they have something that works, like they don't rinse and repeat, they kind of go to the next? Like psychologically, as a content creator, why do you think that is?
Dopamine. It's very simple, right? Like, again, this is not an original thought. I'm just a guy that's very good at listening to other people who are way smarter than me. These guys were saying that it's a race to the bottom of the brainstem. So that means like the lower into our brainstem we go, the harder it is for dopamine to release, right? So like that, like lizard brain gets harder to scratch. So like maybe one video makes you happy, but maybe the next time you need to watch 10 videos to get the same feeling. It's like smokers, right? It's actually chemical, believe it or not. It's dopamine. And because they're in a race to the bottom of the dopamine brainstem, because they're being basically sheep, they're being like, let's call a spade a spade. They're like being trained. We're just creating the next assembly line workers, right? Like the digital frontier, Facebook is going to monetize us, right? Like we can see this, right?
Yeah.
But because of that, they're like, dude, dopamine's freaking hard. I'm 29 and I played Pow World for like 2 hours before I came on this call, dude. I'm fucking negative $50 in my bank account. Who am I to play Power World for 2 goddamn hours? My fiance is on, she's working, dude. Right? Like, so like, but like for, but like life's too short, right?
Mario, did you play Power World over the last week?
Dude, buy it.
I downloaded it, man. I didn't get to it though, man. It's downloaded. Downloaded. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, rants aside, like, man, like that's just like, that's where we're at, right? Like we're in this 4th turning. I can either like keep following these dunces around and like, or I can just say what I'm going to say. And if you ban me, you ban me. But like, I'm building for 50 years. Cause look, in 5, Oddmanout's going to generate what I just told you it's going to generate. I'm buying my wife a nice 50-acre lot in Colorado. I'm building a content studio in one corner. And in the opposite corner, we're just going to have a house, right? Like she's going to homeschool the kids. We're going to build like a little community of smart little kids and, start pumping out some intelligence, like start pumping out some people who can like, you got to make people who are makers. Right. And my dad, like, again, like my dad, when he saw me making things, it was like on a computer. So to my dad, I never was a producer. My dad, until now, very, very fortunate. He like has come around to it. He's like, Danny, you're a producer. You make things. You're a maker. My dad, that generation, they had to craft the soda can. My dad works for Pepsi. So like they had to build a soda can, put a box around it. My dad puts it on the shelf. My dad makes things happen, right? So when he saw me on a computer, it just didn't register. But now we know that we are makers or we are takers. You either watch videos or you make videos. You either listen to podcasts, or you make podcasts. Yep. It's just the next step, gents. Like they're saying, like it's just digital real estate. You can get in there and like live in the same system. It'll be the same thing. The dollar won't be worth anything. They'll have US digital dollar. You'll go there. You'll buy a little Pixelmon plot of land. They'll tell you if you can afford it. You probably can't. But they'll put the string, they'll let a couple of your friends pop off, right? Like you're in a matrix, bro. Like, come on. Like it's bogus. And even if I fail, I'm buying a property, bro. I'm getting the hell out. Like, right. Yeah. But that's like the long short of it, right? Like we have to just accept you're not going to fix the existing system, right? Like you just can't, because like being honest with you, you're never going to see another election that's traditional after this next one, right? Like I told my dad, like there's no more two-party elections. Like everything's about to change. Money's changing.
I don't think this election is traditional, but with the two candidates we got.
No, but you're going to end up with one of these two dudes, right? You're going to end up with one of two unqualified people. And then all of us are just going to collectively be like, throw our hands up and we're going to say, all right, okay. Right? This is how it's going to go. And I'm 29, so you guys might be able to tell me I'm wrong, but here's how I think it's going to play out. Fuck this. Right? Get to the state and local level, start electing senators. You're seeing it. You're getting younger senators. You're getting more diverse senators. Like the work is happening. It's going to take 10 years. Mm-hmm. But while they are getting in and doing that, like after this, we're all going to say, all right, dude, like after this election, I promise, like I would put money on it. I think you at least see 4 parties, right? I think you're going to see more UK style parliament electoral, like, hey, like me and you, all of us as a group agree on some like ideologies. We as free Americans can just put up our little group. Right.
Yeah.
But something's changing. I don't have the answer. All I can tell you is like if everybody as a society, like, everybody feels tense, right? Like everybody feels tense. Like we're selling, like Mark Cuban sold the Dallas Mavericks. Like Mark Zuckerberg just bought a bunker. Like golden parachutes are going out left and right. And companies aren't stupid. They're not driving themselves into the ground because they're dumb. They know something's up.
Yeah.
So like, wake the fuck up. Wake up.
So I know you gave like advice for content creators. Like what's the one thing you would tell a content creator not to do? Right. So we talked about how to like to grow and but like what not to
do. Don't take anything on blind faith. Right. So like, don't blindly trust even my creators. One of the first things I tell them is like, question everything I tell you. Like even in this podcast, like I would rather somebody doubt everything I said and go look it up than blindly just be like, oh, that's the way to do it. Right. Because the only way I got to these patterns and these conclusions was by drawing hypotheses and testing. And testing's the part that people don't like to do, because testing means failing and nobody likes to do that. But the more you test, the more you prove whether you're right or wrong. And that's not bad. Right. So the best advice I can give is do not blindly trust anything anymore and go to multiple sources, like kick it old school. I don't know if you guys wrote, like when I was in high school and we wrote papers. I mean, we had internet. Don't let me date myself. Like we had Wiki and we could cite Wikipedia, but we needed to have 5 different sources. And 3 of them had to agree with what your thesis was. So like if I said that the sky was blue, I had to find 3 different publishers. And it couldn't be one publisher who wrote for 3 different websites, right? And it couldn't just be CNN, right? Like it couldn't be like Fox, right? Like it couldn't just be one source of information. You had to connect it, right? That's true journalism. That's true research. I think if you hear one person say something, if you read a headline, go and try to find something to corroborate it or to disagree with it, right? But do not take anything on just what people are saying.
Yeah. Danny, I know that you recently launched your studio, and you also you're speaking from experience. You have your own subscription offering, right?
Yeah. So
our podcast is all about like creating equitable value for everyone. So we appreciate all the insight that you're sharing with our audience. We want to share that opportunity back to you.
Oh my
Can you
gosh.
talk a little bit more about that? Because I don't know, we had talked about this. My birthday's on January 3rd, I think, was when you launched that program.
Oh, dude, happy belated. We're both January babies.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
coincidentally, Bitcoin also launched in 2009 on January 3rd.
Dude. Oh, we just became best friends, man. You're my new good luck charm. That's awesome. Well, let me I do really, really appreciate that. And as a new founder, I think this is a really great opportunity to tell people that I fucked up my first month, right? So I tried to monetize. I listened to like other business owners. They were like, look, you can sell a creator course. I made the creator course. Turns out you need $1,000 in Facebook ads, right, to get the users. I did sell a course. So we have a market. What I'm actually doing now is I'm refocusing on my creators. What I've learned is that not my new plan, but like as a founder who's evolving month to month, I'm going to tell you like next month might be different. I'm taking down the Creator Collective course. Because of all the layoffs, what I do want to say, Marcus, is to plug this is actually go to oddmanoutstudio.com and click on our Discord link. Wherever the Discord icon is, come to oddmanoutstudio.com, click on my Discord link. My course is now free. Right? I'm just going to unlock the Creator Collective because gating knowledge is not going to help me achieve what I'm trying to achieve. I'm going to focus on my next year getting my 10 creators, right? So that's what I want to focus on. If you guys know any content creators who are kind of diamonds in the rough, somebody who's got that fire, has a sustainable job, or maybe not, part-time's cool too, send them my way. I'm looking to sign creators. But yeah, I don't want to sling any product because I think like for me, I need to build something that's a 50-year product, and I appreciate that opportunity. But the website's always going to be changing. But oddmanoutstudio.com, right now you can click on the Discord link, and I will not go anywhere besides there for now.
That's dope. I had the same experience, unfortunately. I talked to Mario about this. I was planning on launching a course, and I built up a newsletter. It now has like 5,000 subscribers on it. And in October, my wife put together this amazing website. We worked on it for weeks, and she's like, make sure you promote it in advance. And then I announced it on LinkedIn, and nobody signed up, and I was like just defeated. And I was like,
dude, but like you learn, right? Like, and that's like, dude, and thank you for sharing like that. I think more people need to share that, right? Like, it's not even a failure because now you're going to be like, all right, what do you take all that stuff and like now you as an entrepreneur know, like, you just have to like repurpose it, right? Like content's all about repurposing.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like the kudos to you. And like, I think that's, like, dude, just look at the market. Like, honestly, can I just tell anybody trying to sell a fucking course? Like, have you looked at anybody's bank account? Like, I'm charging $1,000 a year, bro. And I still have my advisors telling me to charge more. Like, dude, nobody's paying $1,000. Like, why don't we get these people? Like, I'm a proponent of I get paid when my creator gets paid. So that's why I'm like, I'm not talking about selling my course. I know that my creator agency, like it's not an agency, it's called a creative partnership, creative market. I'm trying to find what the name is. Creative management. Words.
Something.
Yeah, but we do creative cohort. We do creative cohort. Yeah, but it's like I don't take a due from them. I split their revenue, but they keep, the lion's share. Like I'm not taking any more than Mr. Beast's agent would take, but I'm not making you pay dues. Right. And you don't get paid until I get paid, and you're not going to get paid for the first year. And I promise you that. Right. So that way, when I get you paid in 30 days, because like really 30 to 45 days, like we'll get you money. We'll get you your first dollar.
Okay. So everybody who's listening, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all the places, he's looking for 10 creators. Obviously, he knows his stuff. You listen to him share his.
So do you guys. Yes. Follow this follow you guys too. Like wherever you're at, Marcus, like, dude, I'm with you. It's just a conspiracy. Nobody wants to share what you're saying because you're too damn smart. We'll just blast each other's stuff out. We'll make a new LinkedIn. It's fine.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mario. Before we go, can you let everyone know, what you're doing, how they can support you?
Yeah, man, just hit me up. Instagram at Painful Profits, PAYNEFUL Profits, because our profits can be painful, but if we make money, we're happy. So at Painful Profits, or my website, Tones Financial, or the relaxestate.com, Relax Investor, my whole Relax series. Well, you can hit me up there, but Instagram, that's the best.
Excellent. And then Danny, if you don't mind, if you look at the chat, either here or on LinkedIn, and select somebody who either asked a question, I know we didn't get to a lot of questions, or a comment that really resonated with you. They will earn a free digital copy of both Mario's book and my book.
Let's see
when
here.
you go to LinkedIn, make sure you mute it.
Yes,
so you don't have
already
noise
pre-muted.
happening.
Oh yeah, let's see here. If our comment is the last one that we put on the screen, is that the winner? Would that be Saban?
Saban's
Saban's in the chat. So
right.
Saban, you are winning an ebook, and he's gonna have some time to read it because he's getting his first break in like 14 days this week.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm freaking jealous. Then he's gonna tell me that he's gonna have to fill me in. Thank you guys for doing that. Like seriously, like Mario and Marcus, like giving away the knowledge, like that is such a value. So people, like, if there's not a chat, that's silly. But we're gonna get you guys a chat. I have a lot of ideas too for you gents, but you guys keep grinding, and like seriously, thank you for the opportunity, and let me know. Like, I'm a resource for you guys. Let me know how I can help.
Excellent, excellent. I've got two things to share, and then we can go. The first thing is that I've made the virtual version of my book just completely free because I'm trying to support esports 2.0. And to your point, Danny, there's so much gatekeeping and kind of bottlenecking happening in the ecosystem, which is why it collapsed on itself. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile and click on the link that says visit my website, it will take you to a form. I'm asking for some high level information, and then you can have the digital book for free. The reason I'm asking for that information is I'm trying to quantify the demand for a free book, because I want to go to hopefully some sponsors and say, hey, can you sponsor this second book so I can make it free from the get-go? Like, this book's been out 2 years. I would have probably gotten much higher readership if I had launched it for free 2 years ago. That wasn't the way my account was set up at the time. Right? So I couldn't be giving away no free digital copies of nothing. I'm blessed that my wife's business is doing much better than mine is. And so if I get that opportunity, I can make that happen. The second thing is, as we talked about, kind of scaling back constructive criticism and really kind of posting on LinkedIn as a whole so I can focus more on value. I've been blessed with the opportunity to partner with Venture Starters. And on February 21st, 3 weeks from today, or 3 weeks from yesterday, we're hosting a gaming industry pitch event. It's 100% free. It's 100% digital. It's open to anyone to apply. If you go look at my most recent post, it's pinned. You can apply for free. There's 20 spots available. Even if you don't get selected on those 20 spots, there's still an opportunity to network with 50 to 100 investors who are coming to that event just to look at opportunities to invest in the gaming and esports and VR space. That's awesome. It's a wonderful opportunity, regardless of whether or not you get to present. But that is also there. So highly recommend anyone listening to this, definitely go do that. And with that, we will see you again next week. Thank you all for your continued support and your time. We'll see you next week.